Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've ever looked through your change and thought, this quarter could be worth something, you might be right. Today we're counting down the top 5 most valuable America quarter-dollar coins that are selling for big money in today's coin market. Make sure you watch until the end because the number 1 coin on this list sold for a jaw-dropping amount that could literally change your life, so let's get it started. Top 1, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark. This coin may look ordinary at first glance, but depending on its condition and rarity, it can actually hold surprising value for collectors. So if you've got one in your collection or even found one in your pocket change, make sure you stick around till the end, because you might be holding a hidden treasure. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the first president of the United States. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington on the obverse side, while the reverse shows a majestic bald eagle with wings spread. By 1985, the Washington quarter was already a long-running symbol of American coinage. That year, these coins were struck in 2 locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The Philadelphia Mint, which uses the P mint mark, is known for producing coins in very high quantities, but not all are equal in quality. Some coins, especially those in extra fine or uncirculated condition, stand out and are now highly sought after by collectors. Let's take a closer look at the design details of the 1985 P Washington quarter. On the obverse you'll find George Washington's profile facing left above his head. The word Liberty is boldly inscribed with the famous phrase, "In God We Trust." Just to the left, the date 1985 appears at the bottom, and the P mint mark is located right behind Washington's ponytail. On the reverse side you'll see a bald eagle clutching arrows, a symbol of strength and readiness, with olive branches below it representing peace. The United States of America, e pluribus unum, and quarter dollar surround the eagle. The 1985 Washington quarter is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, giving it that distinctive silvery color, but it's actually a clad coin, meaning it's made of layers of metal rather than solid silver. In total, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 775 million quarters that year. That's a massive number, but remember, quantity doesn't always equal low value. Coins that have been well preserved over time or contain minting errors can be worth far more than their face value today. Now let's talk about condition. The key to a coin's value. A circulated 1985 P quarter you find in change is usually worth just 25 cents. Its face value, however, in extra fine condition, where most of the design details are still sharp and the luster is visible, these coins start to gain collector interest. If your coin is graded XF by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, it could be worth around $1 to $2. But if it's in mint state, the value can shoot up to $20 or more depending on eye appeal and strike quality. Some rare error varieties such as off-center strikes, double dies, or missing clad layers have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction in 2025. Collectors and investors continue to show strong interest in Washington quarters, especially those from the 1980s that remain in pristine condition. Circulated condition, around $2 to $5 extra fine condition, typically between $5 and $10. Uncirculated, around $3 to $10. High mint state, often $30 to $50, and in some cases, even higher if graded by PCGS or NGC. Error coins or proof-like examples can range anywhere from $150 to over $600, depending on rarity and demand. Market prices fluctuate, but collectors are always searching for sharp details, strong mint luster, and clean surfaces, especially for coins over 40 years old. Even though the 1985 P quarter is not considered extremely rare, finding one in extra fine or mint state condition can be challenging because most coins from that period circulated heavily. Collectors often seek Philadelphia Mint coins from the 1980s because of their weaker strikes and occasional die deterioration, which make high-quality examples rarer and more desirable. If you've got a 1985 quarter that looks sharp, shiny, and nearly untouched, it's definitely worth setting aside or getting graded, especially if you spot something unusual about the minting details. Here's a fun fact: the 1985 P Washington quarter marks one of the last years before the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999, which completely changed U.S. coin collecting forever. So while the 1985 quarter may seem like a common coin, it actually represents a key era in modern American numismatic history, bridging the classic Washington design with the collectible boom that would follow in the 2000s. So there you have it, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark, a piece of American history that could still surprise you in value. Top 2, the 1981 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark, a coin that might look common at first, but can actually hold hidden value for collectors, especially in extra fine condition. We'll talk about its history, design, minting background, and of course the current market value in dollars, so stay tuned till the end. because your 1981 quarter could be worth more than you think. The Washington quarter is one of America's most recognized coins. It was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin's design, created by John Flanagan, features Washington's profile on the obverse and a bold American eagle on the reverse. By the year 1981, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 50 years. During this time, the U.S. Mint had made several changes, especially to the materials used. Before 1965, quarters were struck in 90% silver. But starting that year, silver was removed, and the coin became a copper-nickel-clad piece, a cheaper yet durable alloy designed for everyday use. The 1981 quarter with the P Mint mark was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, marking a significant period in modern U.S. coinage history. On the obverse side, we have a detailed portrait of George Washington facing left above his head. You'll see the word Liberty, while the national motto "I in God We Trust" appears to his left. The date 1981 is centered below the bust, and the P Mint mark representing the Philadelphia Mint sits just behind Washington's ponytail. The reverse side features a striking image of a bald eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing defense and strength, with olive branches beneath it, representing peace. Surrounding the eagle are the United States of America, e pluribus unum, and quarter dollar. Even though this design had been used for decades, it remained an enduring symbol of patriotism and American pride. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 601 million quarters. That's over 500 million coins. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a durable mix designed for everyday use. Because so many were minted, most of them entered regular circulation and experienced heavy wear. That's why finding a 1981 P quarter in extra fine or mint state condition is much harder today than you might expect. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state, and extra fine grade, also known as XF40 to XF45, means the coin still shows most of its details. Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are still clearly visible, though there might be light wear on the highest points in extra fine condition. Your 1981 P Washington quarter holds strong collector appeal because it represents one of the better preserved examples from that mintage year. Here's a breakdown based on condition and grading. Circulated condition: these are worth about 25 to 35 cents, just slightly above face value. Extra fine condition usually sells between $1 to $2 depending on eye appeal and overall detail. Uncirculated can be valued between $5 to $10. High mint state: these premium coins, especially if graded by PCGS or NGC, can reach values of $20 to $50. Man, for those lucky enough to find rare minting errors such as off-center strikes, double die obverse, or clad layer missing errors, the value can skyrocket to $100, $200, or even more at auction. Collectors today are especially drawn to well-preserved examples because coins from the early 1980s often show weak strikes and wear quickly in circulation. While the 1981 P quarter isn't considered extremely rare, its high-quality specimens are becoming harder to find. Most circulated quarters from the early 80s have been heavily worn or lost to time, making extra fine and mint state examples increasingly collectible. Collectors also appreciate this year as part of the final stretch of the classic Washington Eagle reverse design, which continued until 1998 before being replaced by the state quarters program in 1999. So, if you have a 1981 P Washington quarter that still shines with detail and minimal wear, it's definitely worth setting aside or even getting graded. 1981 was also one of the last years before the U.S. Mint began producing quarters with noticeably improved strikes and finishes. That means some coins from this year have unique die characteristics, making certain examples particularly collectible. And while the coin's base metal isn't silver, it still carries tremendous historical and nostalgic value, a true representation of early 1980s America. So there you have it, the 1981 Washington quarter dollar with the P Mint mark, a classic piece of U.S. history that still holds collector value today. Top 3. The 1980 Washington quarter dollar with the P Mint mark, a classic American coin that carries more history than meets the eye. We'll explore its background, design, minting details, and current market value, and you might be surprised to learn just how valuable this coin can be today, especially in extra fine condition. The Washington quarter has been one of America's most beloved coins for decades. It was first minted in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the Washington quarter was intended to replace the standing Liberty quarter, and it quickly became a symbol of national pride and heritage by the time 1980 arrived. The Washington quarter had already been circulating for nearly 50 years. It had survived major historical events from the Great Depression to World War II and remained the backbone of everyday U.S. currency. The 1980 edition holds special significance because it marked One of the early years that the Philadelphia Mint began placing a visible P mint mark on its quarters before 1980, Philadelphia-produced quarters had no mint mark at all, so the 1980 P was a historic change. It was the first Washington quarter to ever feature the P mark. That alone makes it a unique year in the history of U.S. coinage. On the obverse side, you'll find the timeless portrait of George Washington facing left. The word liberty appears boldly across the top, and the national motto "In God We Trust" sits just to the left of Washington's neck. The year, 1980, is engraved at the bottom, and just behind Washington's ponytail, you'll see the P mint mark proudly identifying the Philadelphia Mint. Flip it over, and you'll see the reverse design, a magnificent bald eagle clutching a bundle of arrows, representing strength and readiness for defense, while an olive branch beneath it symbolizes peace. Above the eagle's head, you'll find United States of America, and below, the denomination. Quarter dollar. Between the eagle's wings is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This design served as the face of the quarter until 1998, before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program. The following year, in 1980, the Philadelphia Mint produced roughly 635 million Washington quarters. That's more than 500 million coins. Each quarter weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and is made from 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a clad composition with a copper core and a nickel outer layer. Even though millions were minted, most circulated heavily, meaning that truly well-preserved examples are becoming harder to find today. The 1980 P Washington quarter is graded on the standard numismatic scale, ranging from poor all the way up to mint state 70. An extra fine example, graded XF40, XF45, means the coin still has crisp details, sharp lettering, and visible luster, with only minor wear on the high points, like Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. These coins are the sweet spot for collectors, showing both character and quality. If your 1980 P quarter looks sharp and has only light circulation marks, it could already fall into this desirable extra fine category. Now, let's talk about what everyone wants to know: the market value as of 2025. Here's how the 1980 P Washington quarter stacks up in the collector's market. Circulated condition: typically worth 25 to 40 cents, just slightly above face value. Extra fine usually trades for around $1 to $2, depending on overall eye appeal and luster. Uncirculated can range between $3 and $7. High mint state: these coins, especially those with bright luster and no visible marks, can sell for $30 to $80, sometimes higher if certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And of course, rare minting errors are where things get really interesting. Examples of double die errors, off-center strikes, or missing clad layers have fetched anywhere from $150 to over $700 at auction. So, if you've got a 1980 P quarter that looks different or shows something unusual, hold on to it. It might be worth far more than its face value. Although the 1980 P quarter isn't rare in terms of mintage numbers, finding one in exceptional condition absolutely is. That's because most of these coins have been circulating for over 40 years. Every scratch, nick, and dent takes away from its collector value. Collectors appreciate the 1980 P quarter for two main reasons. It's the first year that Philadelphia quarters carried the P mint mark, making it a historic milestone. It's part of the classic Washington Eagle Reverse Series. Before the coin's design changed forever in 1999. For these reasons, many collectors include the 1980 P in their Washington quarter type sets or modern era collections. Here's a fun fact: the Philadelphia Mint, which struck this coin, is the oldest mint in the United States, established in 1792. Every time you hold a quarter with that P mark, you're literally holding a piece of American minting history. And while the 1980 P quarter isn't made of silver, it symbolizes an important transition in U.S. coinage when modern minting technology began to meet traditional craftsmanship. So there you have it, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar with the P mint mark, a historic, collectible coin with real value in today's market. Top for the 1979 Washington quarter dollar with the D mint mark. We'll explore its fascinating history, its background, and most importantly its current market value in extra fine condition. So let's jump right in. The Washington quarter has a long and proud history. It was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of the first U.S. President, George Washington. The design was created by John Flanagan, featuring Washington's left-facing portrait on the obverse and the bold eagle on the reverse, a design that remained in use for decades. By 1979, the U.S. Mint had already switched from 90% silver coins to copper-nickel clad composition, a change that started in 1965 due to rising silver prices. This means the 1979 D quarter is made up of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core, no silver content, but still full of history. The D mint mark on this quarter stands for the Denver Mint, one of the main facilities of the U.S. Mint. In 1979, the Denver Mint produced a whopping 489,789,780 quarters, nearly $500 million. Because of this massive mintage, finding one isn't too hard, but condition, errors, and eye appeal make all the difference. Over time, most circulated coins became worn, scratched, or dull. That's why finding a 1979 D Washington quarter in extra fine condition with sharp details and minimal wear is much rarer than you might think. Now let's talk about the coin itself. On the obverse, we have George Washington's bust facing left with the words, "Liberty," above, and "In God We Trust," to the left. The year 1979 is placed below. The small D mint mark can be seen just next to Washington's ponytail, a small but crucial detail for identifying its origin. On the reverse, there's the majestic eagle with spread wings, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a powerful symbol of America's balance of strength and peace. Alright, now for the question you've been waiting for: how much is the 1979 D Washington quarter worth today in average circulated condition? These quarters are generally worth their face value, 25 cents. However, in extra fine condition, the coin can fetch between $4 and $8 to collectors. If it's in uncirculated condition, values jump to $10 to $20, and if you have a mint state gem, you could be looking at $25 or more, depending on the coin's strike and luster. Some rare varieties or error coins such as off-center strikes, double die obverse, or clipped planchets can be worth $50 to several $100s, especially in higher grades. Always check carefully with a magnifying glass or send it for professional grading to PCGS or NGC. The Washington Quarter Series is one of the most widely collected U.S. coins. Even though the 1979 D isn't the rarest by mintage, its excellent condition examples are becoming harder to find as time goes on. Collectors are increasingly turning their attention to the late 1970s and early 1980s issues, as pristine rolls from that era are disappearing from circulation. As of today, the coin market for these classic clad quarters remains strong, with growing interest in building complete Washington quarter sets by mint mark and year. So, to wrap it up, the 1979 D Washington quarter dollar might seem like an ordinary coin, but in extra fine or uncirculated condition, it's a shining piece of American history. It's a reminder of a time when craftsmanship, symbolism, and tradition all came together on something as small yet powerful as a quarter. If you find one in your pocket change, don't spend it just yet. Check the details, look for that D mint mark, and you might be holding on to a small treasure. Top 5: the Washington quarter dollar 1978 with the D mint mark, a coin that might look ordinary, but in extra fine condition, it carries real collector appeal and can even hold surprising value in today's market. So, if you've got one of these quarters in your collection or maybe even in your pocket, stick around because you'll want to hear this. To understand the 1978 D quarter, we have to go back to the origins of the Washington Quarter Series. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932, designed by John Flanagan to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president, George Washington. It replaced the standing Liberty Quarter and became one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By the 1970s, the coin had already seen over 40 years of continuous minting, a true American classic. But one big change had taken place. After 1964, silver was removed from U.S. quarters because of the rising cost of silver metal. Starting in 1965, the mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. That's what you'll find in the 1978 D quarter as well. Now, the D mint mark stands for the Denver Mint. Located in Colorado, one of the key facilities producing U.S. coins. In 1978, the Denver Mint struck an impressive 287,373,152 quarters, over 287 million coins. That's a huge number, meaning the 1978 D Washington quarter is not rare by mintage alone. However, finding one in extra fine condition or better is a different story. Most of these coins have been in circulation for decades, getting scratched, worn, or discolored over time. So if you come across one that still has strong details, sharp lettering, clear mint mark, and minimal wear, that's a collectible example worth holding on to. Let's take a closer look at the design details that make this coin so iconic. On the obverse, we have the left-facing bust of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. Above his head, you'll see the word Liberty, and to the left, In God We Trust. At the bottom, the date 1978, and right next to Washington's ponytail, the small D mint mark that signifies it was struck in Denver. On the reverse, there's the bold American eagle with spread wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of defense and strength, with olive branches below representing peace. Above it, the words United States of America, and E pluribus unum. And below, quarter dollar. Alright, now let's get into what everyone wants to know: the current market value of the 1978 D Washington quarter in today's collector market in average circulated condition. The 1978 D is usually worth its face value, just 25 cents, but in extra fine condition where most details are visible and only light where appears on high points, it's valued between $5 and $8. That's already about 4 to 8 times its face value. If your coin is in uncirculated condition, let's say graded MS60 to MS63, its value increases to $10 to $20. A high-grade gem MS65 or above could be worth $35 to $60 depending on luster, sharpness, and overall eye appeal. Some error varieties such as double die obverse, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets can sell for much more. If you ever spot unusual lettering or an oddly struck design, get it checked by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Some rare mint errors from the late 1970s have fetched over $100 to $300 at auction. The demand for Washington quarters from the late 1970s has been slowly rising. Collectors building complete date and mint sets are realizing that truly high-grade clad quarters from this era are actually tough to find. Most were heavily circulated and few were saved right from the mint. Additionally, since the 1978 D quarter marks one of the last years before the mint transitioned to new coinage designs in later decades, it holds a special nostalgic value with over 45 years of history behind it. It's becoming a small but meaningful part of American numismatic heritage, so, the next time you come across a 1978 D Washington quarter, don't overlook it. While it might not be made of silver in extra fine condition, it's a slice of American history, a bridge between the silver era of the past and the modern coinage of today. It's affordable, collectible, and a great piece to add to any beginner or advanced coin collection. Every coin tells a story, and the 1978 D Washington quarter tells one of endurance, transition, and timeless design. So check your coin jars, old wallets, and collections. You never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching the Coin Spot. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Washington quarter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss another video about rare and valuable coins.